Everyone. We'd like to welcome you to tonight's Parents as Partners discussion, which is part one of our behavior series. And my name is Teresa Pena. I am the Special Education Coordinator for Transition Services here in Judson ISD. And my counterpart in our Parents as Partners events, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I am Melissa Alamon. I'm a specialist over 7 elementary schools. I'm also a parent of a kiddo in special education.
And our guest of honor this evening is none other than one of our wonderful behavior specialists here in Judson ISD, Sarah Casillas. She'll be presenting this information tonight. So I'm going to take it over to Sarah, and you guys are in good hands tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just a little housekeeping. I am at home, so the background noise, if you need me to speak again or repeat myself, I don't mind doing that. Just, let me know. Also, I can't see anybody, so I'm talking to the computer. So if you want to put it in the chat or just unmute, since we're a small group tonight, that's totally fine, okay? So yes, tonight we are going to be talking about some social skills concepts and coping strategies that you guys can use at home with your own children, okay? So a little bit about me. Hi. Yes, I am one of the behavior specialists here in Judson ISD. I live within the community. I love the Judson community. And I'm also a parent of 2 elementary students within Judson ISD. Okay. So just a little bit more about me as I've been with Judson, growing with the school district. This is my second year with them. And so I've been a behavior specialist for about 6 years. So I've had some time in other districts. And so I love behavior and the concepts that I learn and how to apply them to, the students that I'm working with, but also with my own children. So definitely have a little bit of insight for the topics that we're going to talk about today. And today we're going to be talking, yes, about those social skills concepts, right? Just like a broad overview of maybe some background knowledge of what it is that we are trying to apply within the school and at home. We're also going to talk about some coping strategies, like real tools that you can use and apply tonight, tomorrow morning, things like that. And then making sure that we're having those home and school connections, okay? So to start us off, we're going to talk about those concepts. So just kind of thinking to yourself, I would like for you to think about, the young people in your life, right? Your children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, things like that. What do you hope that they will learn and be able to do in order to be successful in their future, right? So as a parent, I know when I think about that, I want my children, of course, to be successful. I want them to be, kind. I want them to carry on those values that we are instilling in them at home as best as possible. And I'm sure, as parents, we all want that, right? As caregivers, we all want that for our children. Gonna play this video, and it really kind of just speaks to why social skills are important. This is a author, a speech therapist, and a trainer who specializes in social skills. She is in the UK. However, so many of her practices are applicable in our classrooms and in our homes. And I really love her take on why social skills are important.
Is it important to be socially skilled? Do we need to worry? Well, I think we do. And the most important reason is quality of life. If you ask anyone, what does it mean to have a good quality of life? What does it mean to be happy? 2 things that people talk about regularly are relationships and they talk about employment. And both of these are hugely affected by your social skills. So the first part of that is relationships. And what we know about people with social skills difficulties is that they often struggle to form friends. They're often isolated. They may be rejected by their peers. And that's because social skills are very important. We need to be able to communicate appropriately with our peers to make friends. I think one of the saddest things that children regularly say to me is, no one likes me, miss, I don't have any friends. And that's because they struggle with their social skills. So our quality of life is also based on our employment, our ability to get a job, get into college. And this is very much linked to whether we've been able to be successful at school. And what they found is that social competence is a critical variable in predicting whether someone will be successful later on in life. So what that means is if you look at school leavers and you want to predict which ones of these are going to be able to go on and get into college, get a job, actually it's the socially skilled children are the ones that are more likely to be able to achieve that. And actually what they've also found in schools is that when schools attend systematically to students' social and emotional skills, the academic achievement of children increases, the incidence of problem behaviours decreases, and the quality of the relationships surrounding each child improves. So there is a direct relationship between social competence and academic competence and success at school. And of course, when you then do get into work, actually what we know is that social skills are important then. They found that 80% of people who fail at work do so because they don't relate well to other people. So social competence is hugely relevant when we're talking about being successful. And the fourth reason why social skills are important are staying out of trouble. We know that children who have social skills difficulties often actually exhibit challenging or problem behaviours. And in a recent study, what they found is that between 60% and 90% of young people who pass through young offender institutions have communication difficulties. So there has to be a link between actually our social competence and our ability to actually or stay out of trouble. So that would be the fourth reason why I think that social skills are very important. We do need to worry and we do need to do something about it if a child hasn't developed those skills. So I would say that social skills are very important, for our quality of life, our ability to have relationships, our ability to be successful, to have employment, and to stay out of trouble, and fundamentally to be happy.
So I naturally agree with all of the things that she said. I think just looking at overall quality of life, those relationships, we're always thinking of the future, right, for our children, and so how we can best help them that way, all right? So this is one of my favorite quotes. It's talking about those challenging behaviors occur when the demands and the expectations that we have for that child are above and beyond the skills that they have to respond in an adaptive and appropriate way. Okay. So flipping that mindset, right, from seeing the challenges as that bad behavior to then seeing it as, hold on, there's a skill deficit here. We may not be fully understanding why they're acting out in the way that they are, but what we can understand is they're missing a skill, and how can we fix that to help them? So this is from the Castle Foundation, and they are the put together the framework really for understanding those domains of the social skills. So they're going to talk about it. This video is going to feature students. It's going to feature parents, education leaders. So you're going to see a lot of the leaders within the school and also from Castle, and it's going to talk about. It's also going to speak to teachers as well.
School should be where everyone feels comfortable and everyone should know that everyone's unique and you don't have to be perfect.
SEL is really about the holistic development of young people.
Social emotional learning to me provides students with purpose. SEL was a great foundation and catalyst for me. It taught me to value education and value human connection.
Social and emotional learning is the process by which children grow and develop their emotional lives and their relationships.
What social emotional learning gives the space where people can actually look at students as more than just numbers on a standardized test. We give people the space to explore who they are as people, to look at their identity, to recognize how important relationships are, and what it means to be a successful human, not just a successful student.
In my classroom, they are able to share the things that are personal to them. They're able to celebrate one another's differences. They're inclusive of each other despite what race, socioeconomic, or gender they're from.
SEL promotes academic achievement in effective ways, raising test scores 11 percentile points. It reduces anxiety and distress as well. So it improves pro-social behavior and how kids get along and attend in the classroom.
SEL is rocket fuel. It is the thing that can actually accelerate the advancement of our society.
When I think about a healthy environment for my daughter, I'm looking at, are those teachers engaged? Are they showing her to be an empathetic person? When teachers are engaged and they have that engagement with the students are going to excel.
The educators, the families, the community members, and the students agree that this is important.
How do we make sure that kids don't just get a segment of their life where social and emotional learning is important, but they're getting that in all parts of their life?
Right now, we have an untapped pool of talent. And so the idea is to leverage SEL in order to help young people realize those talents and thereby help the broader society and, in fact, the world.
We really can create schools that inspire, that help students find their sense of self, that help students find their sense of purpose, to learn how to relate to one another, and to better prepare kids for wherever they choose to go in life.
Well, SEL taught you to step up when you need to, but also step back when you had to. So you were creating space for yourself, but also making space for others.
Now we open a new chapter, and the new chapter is inviting educators, families, young people, scholars, policymakers, inviting the whole country into the dialogue about the kind of social and emotional development we want to promote for all of our children in the future.
So while this video was shot at different, schools across the U.S. that are, working collaboratively with Castle, a lot of the classrooms and the environment that I saw in this video reminded me of a lot of the classrooms that I see here in Judson. I see so many of our teachers already doing so many of these things, which it makes it great because in the conversations that we have at home with, our children, they understand what it is that I'm saying. They're like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about because we have that at school kind of thing. It's so great to kind of see that connection. So this is what they were talking about in terms of that framework and understanding. So there in the center, right, is that whole SEL component. And then it has those 5 segments around it where we're talking about that self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and social awareness. And that right there is those main pillars, okay? So when we go beyond that, we have then our classrooms, okay? And that's that smaller community that it is directly impacted. Then what goes bigger than that is the school. And then bigger than that is that family and our caregivers, and then our communities. And so it all starts there in the middle, but the impact is just, as you can see here, beyond what they're just learning during the school day from, 8 to 3. And so when we can see that and we can know that it is going to foster this knowledge of the skills, the attitudes are all going to be impacted across those 5 areas in these 4 key settings. So what are social skills, right? It's that main process in which us humans are learning the skills to support our healthy development, our healthy relationships, and that of others. And so these are here, those 5 domains that we've heard mentioned in that video: the awareness, the management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. Now, within each domain, there are subcategories that fit into the social awareness. For instance, you have like learning or understanding how to take turns in a conversation, right? Relationship skills. So how to make friends, how to work together, things like that. So each domain, again, like I said, has a subsection of other skills that need to be learned. However, the main ones, the 5 right here, are going to be those essential pillars that you need to know. I also have at the end of this presentation some extra resources where you can dive in deeper, in all your spare time. So when we talk about those social skills and knowing all the cool terms and all of that stuff, it lays a really solid foundation for then you as parents and caregivers to teach coping strategies, right? We want to be able to give ourselves tools, but also give our children tools when they are feeling all of the motions, right? Because they're getting that knowledge. Okay, it is okay to feel these things, but what do I do with that feeling and moving forward in a productive way? So we want to go beyond this whole calm down, just calm down, and we actually want to use and apply tools, okay? So coping strategies are tools to help us manage, endure, and overcome really difficulties that we're encountering daily, okay? So kind of thinking back a little bit, when you were a kid, reflect back to understanding and maybe thinking about some behaviors that you might have demonstrated. Okay. So the behavior maybe was not always what it seems, right? At the part of the behavior is always going to be communication. All right. What we see is the behavior, but what we don't see was under the surface, right? It's the maybe basic needs weren't being met. Maybe I'm just thinking about some other things and I'm not focused on the task at hand. Maybe I am feeling left out, or I'm new and I'm needing to feel something, right? Maybe I just want a little extra attention. Maybe I didn't sleep well last night. And so all of these under the surface things, and maybe you can relate to that as, now as an adult, you can now say, oh yeah, I totally was feeling like that. All those under the surface things are now coming to light as this behavior, right? So it's trying to communicate something, right? What I kind of say is, yes, behavior is communication. However, not all communication deserves a response. Okay. So with that mindset, how can we help when we see our children in that behavior that may not be the most awesome thing that we've ever seen? Okay. So stressors, that was something that we talked about here. It was an under the surface thing. There's something stressing me out. There's a sense of maybe security that I'm not feeling. Maybe my self-esteem is feeling kind of, not as strong as I want it to. So yeah, there are stressors for our students now, or excuse me, our children. So these are some of the top 10 stressors for teens. Now, just because they're for teens doesn't mean that our, 5, 6, 8-year-olds aren't also feeling these. But looking at these, I can, even as an adult, relate to them. My performance in work or school, the concerns about appearance, the society issues, right? Worrying about how others perceive me, pressure from my friends, family, all of these stressors are going to impact how I feel, and they're going to impact how our children are going to then show us these stressors, right? They're not going to say, hey, feeling a little stressed out about that whole conversation I heard last night when I was supposed to be asleep, right? They're not going to come out and say that. Instead, they might give us a run for our money, really good run for our money during, nighttime routine or in the morning when it's time to get up and go to school. because something was impacting them. It could be something that happened 2-3 days ago. Maybe they had to take a test, or maybe something didn't go well in after school care. I don't know. The list of stressors is honestly endless, right? With our children, but it always comes out some way. And again, it's how can we help them with that acting out. So it's all about how to make a positive impact when we're trying to help, right? So these are some really easy de-escalation type of strategies when we're trying to help our children cope. And so I'll show the video in just a second, but going through some of these, you maybe we've practiced them without knowing that they were actually a really positive skill, right? Those nonverbal signals, whether it's the head shake or the thumbs up, thumbs down, is always a great way to kind of help your child through something. Decreasing the verbal interaction, right? So when your child is, again, having that hard time, giving that over explanation of, giving them logic is not always it's given with good intent, but it's not received that way, right? Sometimes you're like, I'm just trying to tell you why this isn't working, but that's not where their brain's at, right? Their brain is in, I don't understand what's going on, and it's in, I perceive something not going right. I perceive a threat somewhere, so my brain went into survivor mode. And I'm not really hearing what you're saying, but you're making a lot of noise and it's not helping, right? So something I can do is I'm going to provide you options. I'm going to provide you choices. Whether it's, after school, you can take a break now and relax, or you can do your homework first and then take a break and relax, right? I had that conversation an hour and a half ago, and we totally chose to chill first and then homework, right? That's fine. I'm okay with that. Sometimes it might need you to do the unexpected and just start, let's play some music and let's get crazy, because that's a great distraction, right? From the angry, feeling that I'm feeling. Sometimes, that broken record technique can work. Sometimes it doesn't. Those private discussions maybe about behavior, about, hey, what you're doing right now is like so out of pocket. Talk to me. What's going on? Getting on their level, acknowledging their feelings is really going to help, again, ensure that bond, and then also have a much more positive impact than just brushing it aside. So the video I'm going to show you is 5 ways to help a child in meltdown mode, right? Because we've all been there, we've all seen it, we've all experienced it. I don't feel one way or the other about meltdown mode. I just know, hey, my kid is not okay. How can I help them? Because that's all we want to do. The speaker is, her name is Sasha. She is a board certified behavior analyst, and she is the creator of this site and wonderful blog called The Autism Helper. Just because that's the name of the video or her company or whatever, these strategies can be used for any child with any disability or not. Okay, so I just wanted to preface that.
When a student is overwhelmed and escalated, it can be challenging to know how to respond in a way that will help that student calm down and reduce those challenging behaviors in the moment while keeping everyone safe, right? I'm Sasha Long. I'm a former special education teacher and a board certified behavior analyst. And I'm going to share 5 tips for working with a student who is extremely escalated and helping them work through that challenging time. All right, tip number 1, 2 words, safety and space. Before you do anything, before you get involved, before you talk, your first thought needs to be safety. If the student is engaging in any aggression, extreme disruption, property destruction, eloping, anything like that, your first thought is safety. Because the most important thing is keeping that child and the other kids in your classroom, if you are a teacher, safe. So think about removing other students from the area, removing damaging items, things that they could throw or maybe bang their head on. Removing those things. If the student is throwing themselves to the ground, maybe you put some soft pillows there, but you're giving them space. You're in that moment. If there's like that kind of blow up, there's that extreme behavior, you're going to give them space, but keep them safe. So think of those 2 words, safety and space. removing other students. We're not yelling. We're not getting involved. That's all we're thinking about first, safety and space. All right, number 2, this is the hard one. You got to get yourself in check. You got to get yourself in check first before you do anything else. So we are giving that student space while keeping them safe. But before we get involved, we have to get ourselves in check, because sometimes we contribute to the problem by overreacting. We don't want to react here. We want to respond. There's a difference between responding and reacting. A reaction is filled with emotion. A response is thought out. So you want to respond. So take a minute, which feels hard when it's a stressful situation and it could be dangerous or there's extreme behaviors happening. Take a minute, get yourself in check. This is not about you right now. This is about helping that child who is having a really hard time, helping them through this time, helping them through this situation, helping them get through to the other end. That's what this is about right now. This isn't a personal attack on you. This is about right now helping them. So get yourself in check. All right, strategy number 3. We've given them space. We're keeping them safe. We're putting ourselves in check. Now we're going to model calmness. You're going to walk over in a quiet, calm voice. You want to be very aware of your body language. You want to be very aware of your tone of voice. You want to model what you want them to do. If you rush over hyped up with your anxiety and your stress level and all your feelings at an 11 out of 10, that's what they're going to mirror. So keep your voice low, be aware of your body language, your facial expression, and model calmness. Now, step 4, this is one of my favorites. Now we're going to offer choices. Oh my gosh, choices are so powerful. And I think it's really important to give choices when someone is escalated or upset. Now, there's a lot of great coping strategies we can teach and offer, but we're not going to be like, hey, you should go for a walk or you should take deep breaths. We're going to give choices. I love tools like visual choice boards that give options for what to do. I'm going to show a few of those in a second, because we want to empower that child to decide how to calm down. When I'm upset, I don't want someone to tell me how to calm down. I want to give choices. So give some options of things they can do. Hey, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to get a drink of water? Again, slower than that. I'm going real fast right now. If the student has lower receptive language or struggles with receptive language processing, we'll use those visuals. Let me show you a few examples of those. Here are a few of my favorite visuals for offering choices when someone is escalated, giving these calm down strategies, giving written options, because remember, text is a visual too, offering different calm down tools and having a choice board for that. If you're using something like a social story, again, we can pick a calm down strategy. Here's how I feel and here's what I will do. So lots of things that have options and choices, whether it's visual choices or a written down choice or just a verbal choice, will be helpful with empowering that student to pick a strategy that will work for them. And strategy number 5 is to offer support instead of accusations. While we are still calming down, while we are still in that escalated state, we're not back to regular levels yet, we are not pointing out what they did wrong. Hey, you threw over that bookshelf, you punched Johnny. Now is not the time to highlight the problem. They know likely what negative choices they made and what negative behaviors they engaged in. Now is not the time to point that out. Now is the time to offer support. Especially for our kids that have a history of trauma, we want to show them and tell them that I am still here for you. Even though you engaged in negative behaviors, I am still here for you. Learning and those problem-solving steps will come later, but while we're still escalated, it is not the time for learning. People do not learn when they are in an escalated state. I don't learn when I'm really upset or overwhelmed. Now is the time to show that student that you are there for them. Offer support instead of accusations. All right, those were the 5 tips for helping a student who is overwhelmed and escalated. If you'd like more behavior strategies and behavior tips, please follow my channel for more coming your way.
I love those so much. As a parent of 2 elementary kiddos, I replay that video in my head all the time. It is so, so helpful and just a really nice positive reminder. So I love that. Here are just some other calming techniques that personally I have used with my own children, that I've seen, colleagues use. These are just absolutely wonderful. This is definitely a focus on the breathing component. Now, sometimes, just breathe with me, take a deep breath, and then I don't want want to do that, right? So that's why I love visuals. They are just so, so helpful. So a lot of these are definitely, they have that visual cue to kind of help your child follow along. Some of these are from specific curriculums that your child might be introduced to at the school. Some that you might have heard of, or that your child might be familiar with, are conscious discipline. Those are the star and the balloon, the faucet. Those are really popular, especially with our pre-K through second grade group. Some of the other ones here, the 6 sides of breathing and the lazy 8 breathing, those specific visuals are from a curriculum called the Zones of Regulation. That one has been out pretty popular for quite some time, and is established within our district as well with some of the programs that we have. Some of these other ones are just really great and creative. Something that you don't even need a visual. You have, your hand and how to manage your breath. So you just trace it, you go in and then you go out, and you go in and you go out. And so it really kind of helps you. It gives you that tactile. So you're definitely tracing your hand. I do this with my daughter all the time, and we trace our hands while we're breathing. And it helps ground us. It helps keeps us center. And it's such a great calming technique, right? Wonderful, wonderful coping skill. This other one, this countdown, right? From 10 to 1. This is calm down counter. Just saying 10, 9, and just going all the way down, whether you're touching the numbers, saying it out loud, or in your head, is another wonderful, wonderful tool, and great coping strategy that you don't need to have all this fuss about. It is just a really great reminder. Okay, I can count and it can help me. Here's a couple of other ones, right? So identifying those triggers for you and your children is just so powerful. So, we have that little caution sign, like, oh, they're coming, right? That's okay. It's good to know what's going to send you to that place of, I am not a happy camper right now. That is so important to know. And let's respect that, mutually. So, you're teaching your children, hey, this is not a fun time for me when I see this. And then your children are like, oh yeah, well, I don't like this. And great, cool. Some of these things are out of our control. Again, another wonderful teaching opportunity, right? Another great coping skill that we like to use is that visualization. Take me to my happy place, and maybe it's a beach, maybe it's a snowy mountain, maybe it's just like in a field with like kitties or puppies running all over each other. It's probably mine, but just having that mental picture, right? Get me away from where I'm at right now. Let me just like tone it down and take me to my happy place. Okay. Something that was mentioned in that video is those visuals, that social narrative. This is a really great one, or just a visual in general of when I'm angry. What can I do, and how will I feel when I do that, right? Also, let's use our sensory tools, right? We are needing to, squeeze something. We are needing to fidget with something. We just maybe need to block out some noise. Maybe we, need to sit on a cushion, or have something weighted on our laps. Sensory tools can be so powerful. Also to, regulate you throughout your day. I carry a fidget with me. It goes on my finger. It looks like a ring. And I just will fidget with it when I'm feeling a little worked up or maybe a little anxious. And that is my go-to, right? We have sensory boxes at home. My girls each have one, and I've seen them in classrooms as well. That they could look like little pencil boxes, or they can look like as small as this, like a little index box. Where you put cards in, it can be small like that too. And just something that they know where it is. They can go grab a fidget if needed, and they can kind of help regulate themselves. Really great coping skill. And these are also some thinking strategies. I mean, these are for everyone, right? These are great tools to have and to help with conversations, of course, when everyone is feeling a little bit more calm, right? A big one that I think is so important for our children to learn is how is the size of that problem in relation to the size of my reaction? You know, how do other people see that problem, and how, um, why is it skewed from how I see that problem, you know? And where should my reaction be? So the visual here with the scale, the stepping scale, again, is from the zones of regulation. And I have all of these visuals downloadable, or you can click and you can download them, like, so don't worry about that. You'll have access to them. And then the other one here is something that was kind of created together, right? These are small problems. I broke my pencil, or someone is, you know, shouting inside the classroom, hey, miss, or, you know, across the house. We do that all the time. It irritates people, right? But that's a small problem. Um, Big problem. Oh, I fell. I'm holding my arm. It hurts. I'm not okay. This is a big problem. I need a grown up to help me, or I need my parent. I need mom, or I need dad. I need grandma. I need someone to help me with this. Okay. So having those conversations of, okay, when this problem happens at home, where is it on our scale, and how do we fix it? What do we do? It's creating an action plan essentially for the things that you know are probably going to happen. This is a really great conversation, like I said, that you can have with your children, again, when everyone is feeling calm and, you know, willing to talk about stuff. Another great skill that we can teach our children is staying on, you know, that schedule, or just a routine, even if it's just like a shaky routine. But it understands, using a checklist can help them understand the big, I have to do these things, and it gives them that sense of control, right? I love a list. So you know, when we come home, we have a little after school checklist, and it involves some of the stuff that I got tired of saying all the time. Unpack your backpack, put your water bottle in the sink. Let's get your take home folder out. Put your backpack on the hook that we bought and installed in your room, you know? And then, you know, the fun part is at the very end. Let's have some downtime, you know, and they get to choose what it is that they want to do for 45 minutes, an hour. We all need that downtime. You know I do. And we use a timer to kind of help us. And it really gives them that, taking that ownership of what it is that they need to do. But it also helps with the um, surprise, you have to do this now. Like, well, hold on, do I? Or yep, I knew about it. It was on my checklist and I was ready to go. You know, for our children that don't like you didn't tell me about that. Hold on, wait. This is such a great coping strategy to kind of help keep things that are, you know, are predictable, you know, that they're going to happen. So they're also aware, just kind of having that line of sight for them. So how are you going to apply these tools, right? So going back to those, acknowledging those feelings, and you know, validating how they're feeling and what they're going through, right? Things that you can say, you know, I see you're upset because you can't have more time on your Switch. That must be really frustrating. Okay. I see it. I'm on your level. I get that that's frustrating. Okay. That's totally valid. However, you can be mad about that. You can be frustrated about that, but you can't be mean. Okay. I heard that the other day and I was like, wow, that is perfect. You can be mad, but you can't be mean. And I was like, okay, that's cool. We can work with that. Things that you can do. You are the role model, right? In your home, you are literally showing them how it's done. And so co-regulation is so powerful. It's where you are right there with your child and you are working through this together. You all are both breathing. You're both practicing those skills, right? I breathe, you breathe, everyone's breathing, and everyone's going to be okay. We're going to get to the other side of this, right? And so then also comes with that reframing of that mindset. So patience, consistency is key. This is not going to change overnight. We know that, you know, these things take some time because everyone is learning a new process, and that's okay, right? That's coming from different angles. You know, I'm getting it from home, getting it from school. I don't know what to do. That's okay. We're going to work through this together. And having that conversation, having that mindset kind of takes the pressure off. Definitely. There's so much so much information coming at us from all these different spaces, social media, school, the internet, my goodness. It's nice to know that everyone is trying their best and everyone is learning a new way. And so we're all kind of going through this process together. So now we kind of get to that really fun part of like, how can we have a better homeschool connection, or how can we make it better? If you already got one established, wonderful, right? So it's a key setting, right, for family and caregivers when we're talking about that social emotional learning. So y'all are the very first teachers of promoting this SEL. And so when educators and families are able to work together, they have that strong connection, they're building those bonds. They in and itself are with each other and reinforcing those social skills, reinforcing those emotional skills that we are teaching our children. It's really great. So asking, what is the school doing? So personally, from our experiences with working with the school, we were really into conscious discipline in pre-K, and so we had, they talked a lot about the feeling buddies. That was a thing. I didn't know what that was, so I figured it out. I just Googled it, and I was like, oh, cute. This is a little visual we can have. And then I said, well, can I have a copy of that as well? Absolutely. And so when I just reached out to the teacher, they were very willing to kind of share with me what they were having. As the girls got older, they got away from conscious discipline, and then this one in the corner, the feelings and emotions one, it's called a spot of feelings, I believe, and they got into that. And so there's these little cute rocks. They look like rocks, they're spots, and they represent different feelings and how to manage those feelings. And so we were able to kind of then go into that. And then the last one we did that we're currently implementing right now, just because I have a lot of personal experience with it, is the zones of regulation. So we have an at-home check-in station where I'm like, hey, how are you feeling right now? Or, wow, I noticed that you're really tired. You look like you're in the blue zone. One tool that you said you really like to use is to drink some water because it wakes you up, or go jump on the trampoline. So you want to do that? Sure, let's do it, kind of thing. It just kind of helps, again, reinforce what it is that they're learning at school. Hey, we're doing it here at home. And it was easy because I did have access to the materials. All the materials I found were online, and I just was able to download them. And it was really simple, easy. I didn't have to pay anything for it. And there was a video on how to do it. So I was like, I can do this, no problem. And it's really, really made such a positive impact in our home. So communication with your campus, right? I just mentioned, hey, ask the school what they're doing. So how are you going to do that? So here is that chain of communication, right? We want to make sure that if you are having a concern, or you just have a question, right? You're going to want to discuss it with that teacher first, right? If you aren't able to get, a clear answer, or you need more information, then go to your child's case manager, or then talk to the campus administrator. I'm sorry if you hear crying in the background. It's fake crying. They're playing. I'm so sorry. You can go through it that way. But again, if further guidance is needed, there are other people within the special ed department that you can reach out to. So I just want to kind of show you that as well. So we have our elementary district contacts. You saw Melissa Alaman. These are the campuses that she oversees. We have 2 other elementary specialists that can help you. We have Danielle and we have Kimberly, and they are over the following campuses as well. And so their emails are there for you if you want to take a minute to snap a picture, or jot those down. If you're a secondary parent, we have our middle school contacts. We have Miss Latham and Greg, and so Greg has Metzger. Lucky Duck only has one, and then Miss Latham has the other middle schools. And then again, if you want to take a quick snap of that, and then of our high school contacts, we have Miss Teresa, who does the adult years, but then she's also the coordinator for transition services. And then we have Donald Furrow, who is the high school specialist. Okay. Beyond that, if you need additional contacts, you can always ask them for some help on reaching the person that you need. Okay. So like I said, I do have some resources for you all. So these are the sites that I visit a lot, and then the sites that I use to help create this content. So you will have access to this PowerPoint where you can actually click on these. And then I do have some downloads here for you. So all of these downloads do coincide with the zones of regulation curriculum. I just kind of went to one that has a lot of the tools that we talked about today and how easy they are. And so that check-in at home really kind of sets it, just kind of sets it off for everything. So I did want to give you the opportunity to be able to download those if you wanted to. But then also one of the really cool sites that I wanted to bring some attention to was the Zones Book Nook. So teaching social skills and teaching this is how we should do things, it can get kind of, I don't know how to do this. Using different multimedia modes is such a game changer. So this one focuses on literature. So it has different books that will that you can access, whether it's, public library or, purchasing it. You might even have it in your child's library already. And how that book can then help explain or teach a way to use a coping skill or what to do when you're feeling this type of way. So I love that website. It's a really great resource. And then all these other ones are just really wonderful that have practical uses of coping skills and helping, parents and caregivers just dive deeper a little bit more into that whole SEL world. So this is the end of my presentation. However, we do need your help to pick the topic for part 2. So I'm going to ask you all to please do this little QR code. It'll take you to a Google form with some options on what we can talk about in November for part 2 of our behavior series. And if there's something that you really want to hear some information on, there is a spot for other. Go ahead and just put that there too. Essentially, whatever gets the most votes is what we'll talk about. So I will give you a minute to access that. If the QR code is not working, please let me know and I will put the link to the the Google form in the chat for you. Just let me know about that. And then I am going to, in just a minute, I can stop sharing. And or before I do that, are there any questions that anybody has that you want to just unmute and ask or put in the chat? We can answer those while you're filling out the form. I got a couple of responses. Thank you for those who have done it. I appreciate it. Just gives us some good feedback, so I make sure that we're talking about something that you actually want to hear.
Sarah, can you share the link in the chat, because there's some people on the phone and they can't take a picture of the code?
Yes, I can do that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can access that. Okay, it is in the chat. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome.
Sarah, could you explain briefly each, like what the topics might entail, just very briefly?
Yes. So one of them is talking about positive reinforcement versus bribery. Yes, you're welcome for all the information. So the two of those can get misconstrued all the time, and we're going to talk about how to implement some positive reinforcement and how not to do bribery. There is talking about, before I just go, breaking down hard tasks at home. So it's kind of like an extension of using a checklist and how you really can use it for a million different things, whether you're trying to teach a new skill or just really reaffirm, hey, you got this kind of skill. So something I go to is washing hands, restroom routines that you're constantly having to like talk about over and over again. So we're going to talk about that. Using behavior contracts at home and how you can carry those over to different situations. Another option is mastering choices and not power struggles. And so how to really provide choices that are appropriate, reasonable, and not get into the back and forth all the time. And so those are just kind of the four main topics that you can choose from. And then of course there is a option for other if you want to hear about something else. I am open to all kinds of things.
Thank you for going over those, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
And we might want to put the link to your Google form in the next month's Family S'more.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That way you can just reach more people and yeah, that'd be great.
Definitely be done. It'll be going out the last week of September, so I'll make sure it's there. If
awesome.
You want to share that. Yeah.
Grace says they are all great topics. they are, and so we will continue to work with our families to identify what needs are out there. If there are no other questions or comments this evening, this will conclude our session. And it will be uploaded. Give it a couple of weeks to get uploaded to our YouTube channel. But if you need to go back and access this information, Sarah, how was the best way to make the downloads and other information available for the parents to utilize?
So we can also attach that into the next month's S'more newsletter. That way anybody can have access to it if that's okay. The links will all be in there as well with the downloadables as well for y'all to access. If you want it right now, you can, I will put my email and you can just shoot me an email and I will get it to you. That my email is in the chat right now. And I can get it to you a lot faster than that, but for sure it will be in the next month's S'more parent newsletter. Okay.
We will have a special behavior section just for that.
Yay. Thank you all so much.
All righty. Well, Sarah, we appreciate your time and everything.
Thank
and
you.
To all our families that joined us this evening, we appreciate you. And we look forward to continuing on with our behavior series. With that, I'm going to stop our recording and wish you guys a wonderful evening. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye.